All right, it's the moment you've been waiting for. It's time for our week one picks. I got Luke here with me. He's going to help with the picks tonight. We're going to talk about some of the top games of the week that I think are really interesting, and we're going to give you an upset because I always like to have an upset pick and who's the underdog this week. But let's go right to it. So let's start with some of the top teams. Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Ole Miss, and Oregon. Who do they play? Luke, flip that up. They play, pick it up just a little bit. No one. They play nobody. There's no reason to pay attention to those games unless you're a fan, because those are going to be 40 or 50 point losses. Ain't none of those teams getting beat today. So let's jump right into the other games that you might be interested in. So I'm going to kind of work around here, but the games I'm really interested in, let's start off with Penn State and West Virginia. Penn State's very highly ranked. I give them a ton of credit for going to Morgantown to play West Virginia. That's going to be a really tough game for them. I don't know how good West Virginia's going to be. Penn State's always got a good defense. Tom Allen came over from Indiana. He's a really good defensive coach. So I kind of go with Penn State on that. Notre Dame at Texas A&M. That's a really good game. I don't have a lot of faith in Notre Dame on the road in the SEC. I don't have a lot of faith in Texas A&M. I don't know kind of what they're going to be like this year. But I'll tell you what. Home team, SEC, I'm going to go with Texas A&M because I think they will win that game. USC, Southern Cal, mighty Southern Cal, going to LSU, going to Death Valley. Brian Kelly, he's your favorite 9-3 coach, maybe 10-2, good enough to get you in the playoff conversation, maybe good enough this year to get you to the playoffs. Hasn't been good enough to win the big one. But USC going to SEC country, there's no way they're going to go to that heat and that humidity to Death Valley to take on LSU. I got LSU. Sorry, Southern Cal fans. I got LSU winning that game. All right, let's talk about Georgia and Clemson. All right, here's the thing. Last year, if you remember, I talked about the SEC championship game. The only way that anybody was going to beat Georgia was going to be to slow them down, to be able to run the ball on them, and to be able to get them to make mistakes and play the game in the 20s. And that's exactly what Alabama did. Georgia lost by 3. They had a fumble, a missed field goal. Alabama went for over 100 yards. So if Clemson's going to have any chance to beat Georgia, they're going to have to turn Georgia over, I'd say at least once, maybe twice, and they're going to have to get Georgia to limit their possessions. They have to limit Georgia's possessions on offense. If it's a game where Georgia's playing offense a lot, Georgia's going to win that game by 14, 15 points like the spread says. I think it's 13.5. But if Clemson can ball control them, if they can run the ball, if they can get 100 yards rushing, if they can shorten the clock on Georgia, it's going to be a close game. Here's the thing, though. I look for like weird things. In the SEC championship game, Alabama, that week it came out, they were missing like their top 2 running backs, or at least their top running back. And I was like, oh, crap. I hate it when another team's missing something that's their top unit because the other team sort of kind of loosens up a little bit. Well, this time with Clemson, Georgia's missing not 1, but 2 of its top backs. Number 1, starting running back, Trevor Etienne, is expected not to play. And the leading returning rusher for Georgia, Roderick Robinson, not expected to play. I think that gives Georgia a little chip with their running backs to come in. Branson Robinson, who was hurt. The new kid, Frazier, who's coming back in. Cash Jones, he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think that's going to give Georgia running back room an edge because nobody thinks they're going to do anything without their top 2 backs. So I do have Georgia win that game. All right, my team, Indiana. Everybody knows I love Indiana. I love Georgia. I went to Indiana. Indiana playing FIU. I'm so excited for Curt Cignetti. I think the Hoosiers are going to beat FIU, but it's going to be a tough game. And finally, go on.
Hold that right there. FIU has a football team.
They do have a football team. They do have a football team.
Oh,
they do. Wow, I know. Who knew? Now we know. All right, upset pick of the week. All right, Colorado. I like Deion Sanders. I think Deion Sanders is kind of fun. But here's the thing. North Dakota State is a really solid football team. They're in that college football subdivision, but they're always really good. They're hardworking. They're going to want to go to Colorado, and they're going to want to win. I don't know if Colorado is going to think that this team's going to give them anything. Maybe Colorado wins by 30, but don't be shocked if North Dakota State pulls that upset off. Don't be surprised at all. All right, that's what we got this week. Anything else you want to say, Luke?
Also, you did mostly SEC teams.
I did. That's because they're pretty good, don't you think? They also play the hardest games this week. They play the hardest games every week, right? Okay, maybe not. But yeah, you're going to evaluate me? All right, Luke, who you got? You love Richmond. You got Richmond or University of Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia. I think Richmond's good enough to keep that game close. I do. But that's what we got this week. Thanks, my special guest picker here was great. Enjoy it. Judge me as much as you want, and we'll see if we're right or not. But hey, coming to you live on a really hot night. It's got to be 100 degrees out here in Virginia. I'm Josh Skillman, and this is Luke. And we wish you good night, and good luck.